So, Maya, we've had a lot of nonprofits on our show so far.
We have, and we've learned so much about our local nonprofit community.
That's why I'm so excited that today we're not going to have a nonprofit, but something that's supporting nonprofits. It's an app called Give Feels, which is a digital marketplace that connects supporters to the causes that they want to support.
Cool. So we're going to have somebody talk from Give Feels today?
Yeah, so we're going to have Chase, who is the co-founder, and we're also going to have one of their early adopters, Mike, who owns a short-term rental company called Book NOLA.
Cool. Let's bring him out and get this party started.
Let's do it.
Mikey boy!
Missions by
Alrighty. Chase, Mike, thanks so much for joining us. I'm so excited to talk about this because I think this is our first time to really dive into specifically something that's not on just like the nonprofit side. And so thanks for joining me, man.
Absolutely. Great to
Or
be here.
guys, both of you.
Great to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So, why is it right now so important to rethink how businesses connect with nonprofits and local causes through everyday consumer and interactions?
So, in today's environment with all the different media channels, social media, digital, all of these things, in the nonprofit world, they're facing rising donor acquisition costs. It's really expensive to find new money, right? And basically, with social media, as with any use case, there's some good and some bad. Well, what social media is doing is it's taking that same amount of donor dollars and it's spreading it out very thin. So everybody's getting a little bit. And so what we're trying to do is bring it back in and make it more hyper-local focused. The nonprofits are having to spend an incredible amount of money to acquire these new donors. And so we're trying to make it much less expensive for them as well. And so on the business side, they have this problem of if they support one, they're alienating another. And so we also try to bring in this group of nonprofits that help support not just one, but a multitude of categories across the nonprofit sector of New Orleans.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, and Mike, do you see this vision?
Absolutely. It's hard not to bring up politics, but especially in the current environment we're in, where the federal government is contracting spending. A great example, the USDA spending is getting cut. A lot of local food banks are having harder time stocking shelves. Being in a city where, obviously we have a tourism-based economy, 18 plus million visitors a year, giving our visitors the opportunity to have these nonprofits in front of them, cutting our nonprofits' marketing expenses so they can focus on what they're doing best, supporting the community in the various ways that they do. Absolutely. Feels giving us the opportunity to play a small role in that mission and giving our guests easy access to choose a nonprofit that aligns with their values to invest back in the city that they love so much, for sure.
Yeah, I think what you both said is really important because it's dollars are getting spread across more, so it's thinner. And then also it's just, how do we not how do I say this? How do nonprofits effectively use their time and money they do have for marketing to maximize everything? And so I think this is a unique model that benefits everybody, and most importantly, those nonprofits who might not get the exposure that they typically would.
Yeah, and it's opening a new market because this is like your people that you have probably would have never donated to a local cause in New Orleans, because I think you've mentioned it to me how local causes are that people tend to donate more locally based, and so these people are coming in and getting in. It's almost like not only is it they're less fighting for the same dollar, but it's also more marketing or more dollars coming in that would have never otherwise been here.
Exactly. It's kind of the give like a local.
Yeah.
Right?
I love
kind
that,
of thing.
yeah.
Because we
need that holiday. It's like a local holiday.
Yeah.
Exactly. We get 18 million visitors every year into this city. And they spend their money, at our restaurants, at our bars, swamp tours, all these things that are promoted to them. And so we just want to get our nonprofits in that same realm to say, okay, you're coming here, you've got your vacation budget, you're looking to have a good time. Why not make it a fun and easy way to say thank you as you're leaving, or just kind of make New Orleans better than you found it. And also a lot of these nonprofits, support the industries that make New Orleans New Orleans.
Yeah.
The
Absolutely.
music, the arts. Again, it goes to a lot of, like funding in schools and things for musical programs, and art is getting just cut. And so we, kind of have a great relatable story of if we lose a lot of these programs, the culture of New Orleans is going to be lost with it. And I think that's a very relatable story to tell these visitors, because people are very loyal to New Orleans as they come, right? And it's hard not to have a good time. And it seems to make sense as you go across your, vacation activities to kind of make vacation giving a thing, right? So when you go somewhere, you leave a little something behind.
We also need that on a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Like we need to
You got
all these good taglines.
You're the slogan guy.
There you go.
Killing it today.
Yeah.
Killing it.
How do you think the Feels platform better bridges that gap between consumers and nonprofits, and also just changing the narrative of traditional donating?
Yeah, well, there's really nothing out there that kind of compares to the model that we have. If you wanted to find a New Orleans nonprofit, you would just have to go to Google, and then you would go to their website, and that brings up a whole nother kind of litany of problems that nonprofits have of trying to be a conversion focused, like sales type thing, but they also have to inform their beneficiaries. So oftentimes their websites have a lot of information on there. And so on the Feels platform, what we try to do is just keep it very simple and focus on one program within a nonprofit, because nonprofits do a lot of different things, depending on the time of year. And so we try and focus similar to e-commerce shopping, right? It's just kind of an itemized thing, whether it's musicians housing, or for Take Pause, one of their greatest need that restricts them the most is food for the foster dogs. So they have plenty of people that want to foster animals, but they have to provide that food to the parents for free, and they have a hard time keeping that food stock because dog food is fairly expensive.
Yeah.
And so that's their critical item. So when you see like the Take Pause profile on the Feels platform, it's just focused on provide food for shelter dogs.
And they'll say that, like, that this donation is to provide.
Correct.
I think that helps, like, tunnel vision, and then also for your guests. Like, if I'm looking at this list and I'm like, oh, yeah, this speaks to me, like, this specific initiative or action speaks to me, like, it's going to encourage them to donate.
Exactly. And it's, instead of donating to XYZ nonprofit, you're providing, food for dogs benefiting Take Pause nonprofit, right? And so it just makes it kind of puts it more in consumer behavior, like people are used to seeing when they're buying a pair of shoes or jeans. And I think and there's just no wasted space or time needed, not a lot of reading, not a lot of copy, things like that to really waste their time, because we want to make it very convenient and very simple to just get the process done, right? So we call them Feels donation stations, which are either digitally behind a link or physically kind of in real life behind QR codes, where, once you click that link, you're taken to our menu of nonprofits. You choose the one that resonates with you. You go to the profile, choose an amount, Apple Pay, you're done, right? You get a receipt, your tax receipt via email, and you can go on your way. And so we just try to make it like anything else. Attention spans are short, and we want them to get back to their hurricane on Bourbon Street or their
vacation fun.
Short, simple, sweet.
Short and simple, because there's a chemical reaction when you give back. Like that's humans want to do it. And it's called the helper's high. Just as why it feels good to eat a beignet, it feels just as good to give a few bucks to a local nonprofit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And for you, I mean, Mike, how does this kind of, for someone that is in the for-profit space, how do you see this as kind of a tool to help you with your bottom line and just in general as a business, and being incorporated?
No, for sure. So, I mean, it's bigger than my business, right? Like we started off talking about the entire New Orleans economy. Most jobs are in the tourism industry, right? So just like you're at Costco, you go to the checkout line, and there's, hey, do you want to round up and donate X amount of cents to X nonprofit? The awesome thing about Fields is, like we're saying, is having that menu, right? I'll steal your verbiage. Having that menu of options, right? And it puts it right in front of them, like that checkout, right? So in our units, we have a bunch of different touch points where they're seeing this option to do that. But for example, Mardi Gras that we just experienced a month or so ago. One thing that comes up every year, at least locally, but definitely here, like, hey, we want to recycle, things like that. Guests will come and like, where's the recycle bin? How do you take glass, things like that. So Grounds Crew, one of the nonprofits that Fields is working with. So being here for Mardi Gras, thinking about all the plastic throws you just got, and then having right there in front of your face, like, oh man, look at that sustainability, recycling, boom, Apple Pay. It doesn't get easier than that. And then a lot of these guests, these 18 million visitors, these aren't people that are like, oh man, let's take this random one-off trip to New Orleans. There's no other city like New Orleans in the country, in the world, right? So the people that are coming here, it's not just, hey, I just came here for my honeymoon, I'll never be back. It's, this is my 15th trip, man. I've been here 3 times before Katrina. It's a different city now, and love to see the city grow.
Interesting.
So now this is the opportunity for them to cultivate that passion for the city, to really feel like they have the opportunity to directly impact the city, to, I think we were talking about earlier, to make sure that culture of the city is nurtured too, as it should be. Not just, hey, we're going to come, we're going to catch a bunch of beads at Mardi Gras, we're going to leave them in the trash, and, we'll be back next year for our hurricanes, right? To really nurture that love, that passion for this city and their connection to it. And, for our tourism industry, for our guests, that closer bond to the city is just, we hope to see them more frequently.
Yeah, I think those specific type of guests who are repeat, come every year, come twice a year.
Jazz Fest.
To Jazz Festers,
Right.
I think this gives them an opportunity to put their money where their mouth is, if you will, of like, if you really love New Orleans, give to one of our nonprofits. Exactly. Support us in some other way other than just coming here for Jazz Fest or catching beads. Like, let's, really support the city.
Yeah.
100%.
They've never had that opportunity either to really see... if you're only coming for this big event, you're not really seeing all the marketing done by, other nonprofits, on the day to day. You're not in the conversation in the mix. So this is like starting that conversation with them.
Well, and you say it's all about the opportunity. You don't have to give, right? But when we were working with nonprofits, when we built this platform, right? This is built with nonprofits for nonprofits. And, one of the things we kept hearing over and over is we just have to get our message in front of people and people will donate. There's always that percentage of engagement. The hard part for them is getting the message in front of the people. And so if you can do it with a marketplace dynamic like Fields to where it's, it's multiple nonprofits, but it's still getting your message out there and we do the hard work and it makes it risk-free for them where they can focus on bigger dollars. That's when you start speaking their language and see how it works so well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so I guess too, on that same front though, you're really describing how, and I like what you were saying is that it's a long-term investment. Do you see, I guess too, from your perspective, where are you going to be? I guess we talked a little bit about it, but I'd like to hear how are you planning to implement it in your operations, and what do you hope comes out of it once it's kind of fully live? Absolutely.
So we have digital picture frames in our units. It'll have, hey, here's a QR code for your digital guidebook. Here's the Wi-Fi information. Here's a QR code for some of our favorite tours. Here's a QR code for Fields. Your opportunity to make a direct impact into the city that you love, that you're having a great time in. It's your opportunity to give back. And QR code there, like Jay said, send it right to their site. All the options, for them to pick and choose from, something that really aligns with their values. And we have it in our digital guidebook. Again, here's the Wi-Fi information. Here's the parking info. Here's how to, use the streetcar. Here's your opportunity to give back to the city that you love so much. We've just started incorporating it into our email marketing. So just at the bottom too, like, hey, we're a partner. We're not just here to make sure you have a great place to sleep when you stumble back from Bourbon Street. But we're really here to make a positive impact in the city because it is that culture that you love so much that we want to make sure people aren't taken for granted, right? So giving them the opportunity, putting it right at their fingertips, making it super easy. Just an easy addition for us for sure. The smallest thing for us to do to have hopefully a really, really great impact.
Yeah, I like that because your business gets to support the city that keeps your guests happy and coming back. And it comes full circle of everybody wins here,
Right.
The nonprofits, you are helping to support the city that is helping you support your business.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If the culture goes away, the tourists go.
The tourists go,
100%.
Right, and we
100%.
all lose.
Yeah.
100%.
So just trying to keep that alive and doing our best to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great. I think, do you, I guess, too, what is the plan, right now as far as like the future goes with, are you going to be implementing this in more, the more businesses like his, or are there going to be other businesses that are like local based? Because I know his is very, hospitality oriented. What's the plan there?
We're very overall focused on that hospitality industry. We're really looking at, okay, there's 18 million visitors that come here every year. Where do they go? Where do they stay?
Right.
What do they do? Right? And so you start talking about, okay, they stay in hotels or Airbnbs. So that's like, let's just call it where they sleep. Right? Then they're going out to restaurants to eat. And then they're, having a couple libations at the watering holes across town. There's a few of those, right? And oftentimes they're here for an event, for whether it's a big event like a jazz festival or Mardi Gras, or it could be, we have big convention, corporate events, right? Weddings, thousands of weddings every year. And so we're really going to each one of those use cases and seeing, where is the engagement? It can work well in the Airbnb hotel space and not work so well in the restaurant space. We don't know yet. That's what we're trying to figure out is where does it make sense for us to focus our attention? Because obviously, we don't want to spread ourselves too thin.
Right.
We want to choose a few effective channels and really hone in on those. And for us, as a company, it's really just trying to just keep our ears and eyes open, right? And it seems to benefit all sides, whether it's a nonprofit, a business, and then you've got the Feels platform in the middle. So it has to work for all three pieces for it to be a sustainable business model. If the nonprofits aren't happy, then it doesn't work. If Mike and the businesses aren't happy, then it doesn't work. And if Feels is losing money, it doesn't work. And so that's what we're figuring out, the business model, how it all kind of flows together, and what's just the most effective channels that we can help get our nonprofits out there and get some, money flowing into their coffers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This might just be my grand idea, but I would love Feels wedding connection, right? Like people coming in town, coming to a wedding, and then being able to donate through Feels for
Yeah, so we're doing we're working with one local wedding planner right now, and we should have our first weddings here at the end of May.
Wow. Okay.
To do so, there's two opportunities there. You've got the physical QR code activation within the wedding event itself, and then also in any digital communication they're doing, whether it's a digital invite, whether it's
the website for
kind of the welcome email, the wedding website, and so we really want to hit them with those 2 points.
Yeah.
And so Iris and Oak, it's a great wedding planner, Caroline, and so we're excited to get those out because again it's a you're coming for a wedding, you're in a celebratory mood, right? And so it just lines up to, let's throw a few bucks over here to, and it's kind of a group mentality, like the herd mentality, right? Of if you can get a couple of them doing it, then a couple more do it, and so it's kind of confined as well. It's different than when you're talking about a restaurant, right, where people are just kind of coming through. They may not be in such the mood to donate, but we'll see. We don't want to make that assumption, right? The event space makes sense. We've got a big 2,000 person corporate event coming in July. Just trying to help them on the corporate side, it's they have this CSR, corporate social responsibility requirement, and so we're trying to provide this service that makes it very, very easy for them to incorporate some type of just fun and easy way to check that CSR box. Because right now you've probably all done it. You show up to a corporate event, and there might be a get on a bus and go, pack some lunches.
Yeah.
And it involves a lot of
Get on that
logistics.
bus and get on out of here.
Right, and it's just something that's not very easy to do, and there doesn't seem to be a service that exists to where you can just kind of have this turnkey solution that pops up at your corporate event and allows your attendees to, choose between a few New Orleans nonprofits to give back to, because that is one of the elements of, right now we've got our first 10 nonprofits as a part of the pilot program. The business itself can either choose which nonprofits they want to highlight on their page, if you will, or they can just do all of them.
Oh wow! So you can pick just grounds crew. And
so if you wanted, we are pushing them to do a couple. We don't, the whole.
Right. I guess
it's about choice, but like maybe
you can choose
You don't have to have the whole book. You could just select
if you just
a couple.
want to do 3, and that really is probably kind of forward thinking too. Of as our menu grows, makes sense to curate it a little bit.
Well, you're saying quick and easy. I mean, I can see a lot of people getting analysis paralysis.
And also your
Yeah.
guests, like you have the data to kind of say like, this is my age range of guests, like what would align to them. They might donate more to these groups than these. So
Well, what's great is we can, on the platform side, grounds crew, it makes sense to highlight during Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so when guests are here during Mardi Gras, that will be the first nonprofit as a part of the menu up top. And then that can continue on into other industries as well. But there's some use cases that make sense to be, if you've got an event at the House of Blues, the musicians housing probably makes sense. Right. And so there are use cases to where like it lines up. But ultimately it's, our requirement is that you're a New Orleans-based nonprofit. You're benefiting New Orleans, and because we again want to be that hyper-local model, that local businesses supporting local nonprofits, and it's a fun and exciting avenue.
Yeah, for sure.
Local.
Do you feel like, Mike, this is going to be the first turn towards people kind of respecting? I feel like a lot of people, put disrespect on the name of short-term rentals and everything like that. Do you think this is the first step towards that?
I don't.
Dang. The tough question.
And that of course doesn't turn me off on this. Again, it's about I'm born and raised in New Orleans. It's about giving back to the community. Preserving the culture. But I think that, to your question, that's a bigger fight, right? And at Book NOLA, I've always strived to, I went to law school. We're not doing anything less than by the book. No unpermitted units or things like that. We want to make sure we're being good neighbors. One of the first things we do when we get a new property is, go knock on doors and shake hands of our neighbors. Hey, this is our 24/7 number, right? We want to make sure we're good neighbors. So I think that's going to take a lot more time and effort. The hotel industry puts a lot of money into making short-term rentals look bad. That's another 30-minute conversation. But
we're getting into ticket things.
That's for the next podcast. That's for the next one.
But the one before that is where we give you all of our ideas for your business.
Okay. Josh, the idea guy.
Yeah.
But I think that's a much longer battle. We're here to fight it. We're again, we're out of business if the city is drained of its culture, right? If the culture goes away, right? So, and I think that's one of the biggest negative associations besides the, like running the residential character of neighborhoods or affordable housing, is just taken away from the culture, right? That's definitely what we don't want to do, and of course the partnership with Fields gives us the opportunity to push back against that, but that's not why we're doing it. That's not why we're doing it, right? Truly invested in the city and the success of the city and the hospitality industry. I started in hotels and everything as well while I was in law school, right, as well. So, I hope this, does, tip the scales a little bit, but definitely not why we're doing it. I definitely don't expect it to, make it into the city council meetings as we gear up for, the May 13th. There's some meetings about some of the regulation changes around commercial short-term rentals. But, that's what we're here to be. We're here to be, good corporate citizens, great neighbors, and, do our part in preserving and respecting the culture for sure.
Awesome. Yeah.
I like
Man.
that good neighbors because I feel like that's what's at the heart of all of this is just being good neighbors and good guests and
Like a good neighbor.
Book
Book
NOLA.
NOLA's there. Nice.
There we go.
You should use that as a
There we
slogan,
go.
let me tell you.
I'm not trying to get sued. But, look, tell you what, if you come up with a different jingle, maybe we can make it
All
happen.
right,
There we
hey,
go.
don't tell me with a
There we
good
go.
time.
Come on.
Yeah.
we've got some work to do
Yeah.
after this. All right, so I think we should talk about where we can find you guys individually, Feels, and then Book NOLA, and what's next for you both.
And
Yeah.
before you answer that,
Yep.
I also want to make sure you let people know about, there are going to be a lot of nonprofits that listen to this, and some of them might be interested. But I think
yeah.
it's good for you to frame as well, for them what to expect. Like they'll probably want to reach out to you, but obviously you're doing the pilot program, stuff like that, to let people know what to expect, how to best get in touch with you, and what they can expect by getting in touch with you.
Yeah, so obviously Feels is two-sided marketplace. So we've got the nonprofits on one side. We've got our first 10 as a part of our pilot program, but we are always looking to hear from more. One of the probably is the best part of this job is going and meeting with these nonprofits and finding all the cool stuff that's happening. It's incredible, the stories. It's not hard to tell. It's not hard to put together for the platform on a unique, fun thing that's going on that's helping preserve New Orleans, right? And so please, as a nonprofit, if you're interested, you want to find out more, www.givefeels.com. There's a contact us page, very easy. Just shoot us a note. We'd love to hear from you. On the hospitality industry side, again, hotels, Airbnb management, wedding planners, DMCs, event planners, restaurants. If you tour companies, if you touch tourism, we'd love to talk with you and talk about how, this is a free service to them, right? We do the lift, we do everything. We want to make it this turnkey solution that they just integrate in their business. And so again, same, contact us on the website, givefeels.com, reach out, love to hear from you, to see how you can, use your platform as a business to make New Orleans just a little bit better.
Nice. And when do you plan to open up the platform to more nonprofits?
We'll kind of take that week to week, month to month.
Gotcha.
Again, we just want to get the model right.
Gotcha.
We don't, the last thing we want to do is be overextended.
Right.
There's two of us right now. And so, we felt the 10 kind of gave us enough across categories to start with. With that said, it will open up at a time that we feel is right. And, that will be exciting for all of us.
Well, you heard it here. Get on that waiting list.
Get on that list. Exactly.
And Mike, what about you?
Yeah, booknola.com. Love to be a part of any potential visitors. Great stay in New Orleans. And anybody looking for a super responsible short-term rental operator or boutique hotel management company, that's definitely what we're here to do.
Well, definitely all those nonprofits out there should be recommending their friends to stay at
There
your
we go.
places,
There we go.
considering that'll go back to this community versus anywhere
100%.
else. So,
100%.
Create a beautiful little ecosystem.
Yeah.
Look,
Yes.
Iris and
Everybody-
Oak, she's got to start recommending these Book NOLA properties.
Yeah.
We got a bunch
Yeah.
of bridal
There you
suites.
go.
So
there you
let's
go.
go. Come on.
Man.
do
All
it.
right, making deals right here on the podcast.
Right here.
Yeah. Nice. Well, we've reached the end, so now I have to ask you guys a serious question. Very serious. Very, very serious. It's so serious, it slipped my mind. That's how serious it is. But I'm
Sits
gonna,
up straight.
yeah, sit up straight, because it's coming back to me.
Oh, the suspense.
Oh, the suspense. Well, I know I've sort of asked this before on a different time point, but I'll frame it a little differently. If you could go back and visit anywhere you've visited in the past, of your past travels or stays, where would you visit?
Ooh, that's a great one.
I mean, Mike just got back from.
I was going to say, for Mike, this is going to be a tough
From a
question.
trip to
His
Japan.
kid's already got 28 passport stamps.
I'll go first. So let's think about it. Morocco for sure.
Really?
Yes. Haven't been since 2019 when my wife was pregnant with our son at the time, but phenomenal. One of the
Wow.
hardest things, or I guess one of the most heartbreaking things about traveling when you're from New Orleans, is finding good food. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now you have me.
Yes,
Okay.
Morocco, Tangier specifically, did not disappoint. Great there. Just being in a super different culture is always wonderful. Being in a like Muslim country, and we happened to be there during Ramadan.
So no one was eating. You just ate everybody's food.
Yeah, we were the only people at the restaurant. My daughter was like a year and a half at the time, so she was just free roam, having a good time. But yeah, Morocco just was phenomenal. Shafouin, the Blue City, if you guys ever heard of that. Sandboarding, yeah, great. Yes, for sure.
It's a tough question. I really enjoyed my time in Australia. The culture,
Sydney,
the people,
Melbourne,
all over.
Canberra?
It's very easy. I was younger. I was in my early 20s, and so they have a great hostel system. Actually, really nice. It's not kind of like the hostels here in the U.S., but it's very easy to get up and down the coast, and Melbourne, Sydney, the Reef, all of it. It's great. It's just a good, laid-back culture. A lot of fun. Still hardworking though. So yeah, I would say probably getting back over to that part of the world at some point.
Cool. I like that. Australia. Yeah, because there's a lot there going on in Australia. I don't know what's going on there, but it sounds like it's a good time from what you've told me.
It is a good time. They're not afraid to work hard, play hard.
That's true. That's what I hear about those Australians.
Yeah.
A lot of work hard, play hard culture.
Exactly. So.
We just have one half of that here in New Orleans.
Trying to figure out the other half.
Yeah. How about you, Maya?
Mine's pretty simple. I think why I picked this is because of the people I went with, and it was a family trip to Hot Springs. And it was like almost the entire side of my mom's family. So like it will always be a really meaningful trip for me. Because even though we like didn't do that much, like Hot Springs is nice, but like it's no Morocco or but it's such a like I wish I could like redo that trip all over again. So I think it's more of like the time also and like the people there than the actual location.
Yeah. The connection.
Yeah.
Because how often does that happen?
Exactly.
It's better with the people that you're with, for sure. That's what makes a difference. It's interesting because like I was thinking about it. I just wanted to really take it from a different route completely, not about like the place that I wanted to see again from like a good perspective, but more so I was thinking about I went to San Francisco and I had I sent you a picture while I was there, Salesforce, big building. But when I was there, I was like, I had a good experience, and then since then I've talked about it to a lot of people, like San Francisco in general, and it has so much stigma, like kind of like New Orleans. I got this really strange, like New Orleans effect about it, because everybody has their own opinion that they say about San Francisco, and so I saw it first without any lens, like without anybody's interpretation or opinions, and there's all these things about the homelessness, about the food and the culture. And a lot of the negatives that people said, I never really saw, but like now I'm like, I want to go back and see like,
if you see those things,
because like to be honest, I walked 30 miles on my 2 feet of San Francisco.
Own 2 feet?
My own 2 feet. These 2 feet in some red shoes, not these shoes. Red shoes. Oh my God, those shoes were so comfortable. But I walked all around that city. I walked, up, down, left, right. I didn't go to the Mission, which apparently is where it's all at. But like, there was not any like compared to what I've seen in other places, like the homelessness was like the biggest like thing that I did not see at all when I was there. And so I don't know if people are just seeing it from a past, but I was like, I've got to go back and see. I mean, I saw the signs of it because like every CVS or Walgreens I'd go to was a game of like how much stuff do they have locked up. Some would just have every single item locked up. Some would have like 20% locked up. Depending on what part of town it was. But it's like, I never saw like nothing compared to what I've seen in other cities. So it's just like,
I mean, it has it just like other cities. Certain
Yeah.
parts of the cities.
But by far not the way people describe it. People
Have it.
describe like it's a hellscape or something, and I was like, I didn't see that, But I mean, I want to go back. But because the food was really good there. I mean, you're talking about good food. I mean, they're a hidden good food city. So.
Oh yeah, great food.
Yeah.
Lot to do in and around that city. Within 3 hours, you got mountains, you got wine country, you got coast.
See? So that, good thing. Where's our bad advocate? Where's that guy? Anyway, I could go on. I could start a whole nother podcast on San Francisco, but we
got a couple more podcasts.
We got like
to do
5
after
podcasts.
this,
It's podcast on podcast, but it's what we do here. If you need a podcast, call Comfy Stone.
Yeah.
There we go.
Because you're in good hands with Comfy Stone. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming.
For sure.
Great
My
to
pleasure,
come
for sure.
by.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for listening to Missions Bayou, powered by Comfy Stone. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the podcast wherever you listen. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and drop a comment, letting us know your thoughts and who you'd like to hear from next. We'll see y'all next time.